So a little bit just about me, who I am, where I'm from. I've got a traditional marketing agency background from London, worked in direct and digital marketing for a couple of years, moved over to Israel about 5 years ago, worked in PR for a little bit, and I set up my own consultancy just over a year ago. And I work with clients from multinational companies, NGOs, governments around the world. And one of the things that I do is I try and help them with their content marketing. So, why content?
Again, just sorry, either you stand to the right or to the left, otherwise you're going to be internalized with content marketing across your face.
Okay, how's this?
Good.
Okay, so in 1996, Bill Gates said, content is king. And a lot has changed since then. 1996, 16 megabytes of RAM was huge. Google was just starting out. Palm Pilots were really, really cool. And most importantly, internet was local, slow, and it just wasn't global yet. This meant that content could be king. It was really difficult to produce. It was really incredibly costly to disseminate. And that made it really, really important for large companies and corporations to get out there. That's changed completely. With the advent of social media, with the advent of marketing automation, with the advent of clickbait, content has just become polluted, and people are getting bombarded every day, thousands of times a day, with bad content and bad corporate messaging. The soundbite's been ruined. Content is no longer king. Good content is king, though. So, good content stands on two main pillars, and I'm going to go through them really quickly today. Delivery, and good quality content. So why is LinkedIn a good platform for delivery? Well, LinkedIn's used predominantly as a professional networking a tool. It's got about 460 million users, about 100 million active daily users. And as of about a year ago, they have a platform called LinkedIn Pulse. A year and a half ago, it became public for everybody to use. Previous to that, it was only specific people who were able to publish there. And it works like this. Anyone with a LinkedIn profile can click write an article on LinkedIn. They write their article, they click publish, and it goes to their network, and anyone in their network can see it. Anyone who likes it or comments it, it goes within their stream, and that's how your article gets shared around. But there's something called channels. Now these channels can be anything from management to marketing to innovation. These have millions of subscribers, and if you subscribe to it, it'll pop up, featured articles are going to pop up in your feed. And if it pops up in your feed, then you might click on it because you might like the title, you might find it interesting. Also, people with certain notification settings get them sent through in an email once a week, once a month, depending on their settings. So there's these big channels, marketing, management, innovation, but they also go really nitty-gritty, really niche. You could have oil and gas as a channel. You could have medtech as a channel, or pharma. You could have women in leadership as a channel, or India. These all have less than 1 million followers, but still, these are really targeted people who decide, I want to find out all information that's being put out on LinkedIn about this specific topic, and I'm going to get that email digest, I'm going to get that coming up in my feed, and that's really, really important. So, there are two ways to get featured under these channels, to get your article pulled up and put into these channels. The two ways are, first, algorithmically. Now, this is one of the most difficult ways of doing it. The algorithm changes almost weekly as to what links they're looking for, what keywords, what search terms, and no one can tell you for sure what this week's algorithm is going to look like. The one thing that remains constant is within the first few hours, having your article liked, commented, and shared. Now, as an individual, as a single person operation, it's quite difficult to do this. You can get family, you can get friends to read your article, like, share, and comment. But as a company, it's significantly easier. You can write your article, publish it, and send an email internally to say, hi guys, I've just written this article about X. I'd love to know your thoughts. How does this impact you and our company? Could you take 5 minutes and read my article, comment in the comment sections. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you feel appropriate, I'd love it if you could click a like or maybe even share it with your network. Now, if you can get people to do that, if you can get your company to do that, instantly you're ahead of the vast majority of people that are publishing through LinkedIn. So that's a great benefit that companies have over individuals. The second way of getting yourself featured under one of these channels is actually significantly easier. It's to get a human to flag it who works at LinkedIn. A human will flag it and automatically put it under one of these channels if they like it. So how do you do that? After you've written your article and you've clicked publish, you click share and you share it on Twitter. And this is a trick that very few people know, but most people should use, and if you're ever going to put some content up on Twitter, I implore you to use it. You click share, you click on Twitter, and it'll pop up with a box of the tweet of how you're going to tweet out the article. All you're going to do is add on to the end of that tweet, tip at LinkedIn editors. Tip space at LinkedIn editors. Every single tweet that gets sent to tip at LinkedIn editors gets read by a human being. If they think your quality of your article is good enough, if they think you're insightful enough, you'll get featured under a channel. Getting featured, you're going to get in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of eyeballs, and it's just the key to really making the most out of your content marketing. So the differentiating factor here is the quality. So what makes a good quality article for LinkedIn? It's exactly the same that makes a good quality article for every other platform. Empathy. You need to think, before you click publish, of 3 questions. Does anybody apart from me care about what I've just written? Is the person who's going to read this going to say, I really derived some value off that. That really resonated with me. Are they going to say, hey, Bill, or here we're in Israel, so hey, Ohad, I read this article, I think you should really read it too. I'll send it to you over email, or I'm going to share it on Facebook. If the answer to those 3 questions isn't yes, don't publish, go back to the drawing board, restart writing your article, and try again. Now, each article shouldn't take you months to write, it shouldn't take you weeks to write. You should really be looking to push out 1 article a week, maybe 1 every 2 weeks. It's going to get easier as you get used to this mindset of thinking from your audience's perspective. But it's super, super important, and to come at it with that sort of a mindset will really, really help you get your message out there. A couple of other little tweaks, tips, whatever you want to call it. Each article should be between 500 and 1,000 words. It's not a definitive rule, but it's a general rule of thumb. Not too long, not too short. It's still got enough quality in there, enough substance in there to make it valuable. At the bottom of your article, once you've finished with the main body of text, put a few dashes, put a few dots, a couple of carriage returns, and put, here's some other articles that I've written on the same topic. If someone's liked your article, if someone's liked the content that you've put out there, they're going to go, hey, I like the way this person thinks. I'm going to maybe check that one out, maybe check that one out. Put a link to your company website. Put a link to your social media. The goal here is to create a funnel, to create a cycle that people are going to go from one article to the other article, to the next article, to your social media, and that's how you can really get a proper value, getting each article to be more than the sum of its parts. The next thing that's super, super important is people are going to comment on your article, either on LinkedIn or maybe on Twitter when they share your article. You need to be replying to each and every one of them, not by, hey, thanks for sharing, or thumbs up. You want to challenge them. You want to create a conversation. You want this to be a 2-way stream, a relationship. And again, if you have a team, if you're part of a company, it makes it significantly easier because you can get more people into this conversation. You can derive more 2-way traffic on this article. The more 2-way traffic on the article, the higher up it comes in people's news feeds, the more people read it. The last thing is, what are we going to write about? Now, I'm sure everyone here can probably write 5, maybe 10 articles about their subject matter before it gets repetitive and before we repeat what we're talking about before. We don't want to do that. We don't want to write 5 or 10 and then go back to the beginning, back to square one and start republishing. What you want to do is you want to take your niche whatever that is, we've lost the screen. We want to take your niche, whatever that is, and go a couple of steps up from that. You want to think, how does this affect my industry? How does this affect other parts of my business? Let's say you're an app, you might also want to talk about mobile phones. And how can we think about this in a different way? So, does everyone here know what a pest analysis is? PEST is an acronym of political, economic, sociological, and technological. Think about how those 4 factors affect what you do, and then affect each of those topics that you've written about before. All of a sudden, your 5 or 10 articles turn to 40. That's when you start really thinking about the times, the changing times, new technological advances, what other clients are doing, what competition's doing. Another thing that you can do, which is hugely underutilized, is actually document what your company is doing. What's happening with you guys? Have you guys just made it an amazing presentation that you've been able to win business from? Talk about how you got to write that presentation. Did you have a huge hiring round where you hired 30 new people? Well, how did you guys manage to do that? How can other people in your industry learn from that? That's great content. And it's about making a split between creating content and documenting what you're doing every day, and documenting how your company is growing. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you about before I hand over to our other great speakers is the elephant in the room anytime you talk about content marketing. What's the ROI? What's my return on investment? I spend all this time, energy, and resources into writing this content. You know, I've gone back to the drawing board 5 times to make someone actually understand what I'm talking about, to strip out all the jargon, all the things that really only I care about. What's my return on investment? Anyone who starts to think about content marketing as one article equals X many likes and X many views, that turns to X many sales, is coming at this with the wrong mindset. Content marketing isn't a sales strategy, and it's really important to understand it as such. It's a commitment. You're making a commitment to everyone in front of you that you're going to provide value, whether that value is data-driven, whether that value is insightful to your industry, whether it's just funny content. Putting forward that value says who you are. It's coming with the mindset of, this is my personality. This is who we are as a company, this is who I am as a person, and this is what I stand for. You wouldn't ask, what's the ROI of being chivalrous? It's everything. It's every element of what your company is and what you stand for. So I implore everyone to, after this talk, think about what they can write about, think about how they can provide everyone else value, and think about how they can come at it with the mindset of being chivalrous, of coming at this with a personality, rather than looking to derive ROI from every piece of content they put out. Thanks for listening. I'm going to pass over to Gabriel.